We have phenomenal news. We're seeing U.S. manufacturing making a comeback, heard directly from the mouths of the CEOs who know what they're talking about. This actually, to me, is a great sign of fighting back against big tech, but in a different way, right? One of the things that I think Amazon, and now to some extent Walmart, unfortunately, even though we've been very bullish on Walmart to try and provide more competition against Amazon, both of those companies, Amazon really much more so, have helped to accelerate globalization, right? The offshoring of manufacturing, the ability for manufacturers predominantly in China to just sell directly to US consumers. And so unfortunate side effects of that, which is that you gut the belly of the beast, you gut the core of the American economy when you ship manufacturing capabilities off overseas. You not only lose a lot of just competitive and the ability to manufacture from a national security standpoint to China, but you also lose a lot of jobs. You lose a lot of ability for that middle class to, make a strong living. And that's where a lot of those jobs were and then have since left in the past 20 years. Amazon really helped to streamline a lot of those processes, right? We've covered for years how of the top 10,000 sellers on Amazon, basically half of them, and the trend was going up like this pre-COVID, were just direct shipment. The sellers were not actually distributors or resellers. They were literally just factories in China, just direct selling and shipping over to the US, right? So we saw this migration the past 10, 20 years, Amazon aiding it, the flight of US manufacturing. But now the CEO of Reliance Steel and Aluminum, they are the largest, what you call metal service center. They're basically a metal distributor. They're the largest metal, so we're talking about steel here, right? And aluminum, it's in their name. Distributor in the United States. CEO just came out and said some really exciting news. So this reshoring, nearshoring, whatever they're calling it this week is real, and we're pumped up about it. Jim Hoffman, CEO of Reliance Steel and Aluminum, said on a recent earnings call, it's going to fit right in our wheelhouse. According to a report Wednesday, Deloitte said some 62% of manufacturers it surveyed have started reshoring or nearshoring their production capacities. The survey included 305 executives at transport and manufacturing firms, mostly in the US, with annual revenue of at least $500 million to more than some doing more than $50 billion. Right? So these are all pretty good sized manufacturing companies that have a presence in the US, doing at least $500 million. And they surveyed over 300 executives at these companies about what are their plans for offshore, nearshore, reshore. And the report said that American firms are expected to reshore almost 350,000 jobs in 2022, an increase of 25% from the 260,000 in 2021. Ultimately, the shift could reduce by 20% the share of Asia originating shipments to the US by 2025 and 40% by 2030. Those are phenomenal numbers. Phenomenal numbers. Pandemic and geopolitical events have reminded us of the need for a more distributed set of sourcing options, ensuring reliability and flexibility in securing critical materials and equipment, said Commercial Metals CEO Barbara Smith. Eventually, we expect reshoring to extend well beyond the areas we just discussed. So now, of course, the article ends asking the economists what they think. The economists of late really have had a pretty bad track record. So you just heard from the business people saying, hey, we see reshoring, we see nearshoring, it's a thing. It started aggressively in 21, but we're now actually compounding those gains in 2022. But no, the economists aren't convinced, of course. For Goldman Sachs Group economists, more evidence is needed before declaring reshoring a long-term trend. The increase is directionally consistent with a reshoring of production, but the magnitude falls short of suggesting any meaningful turn in the tide, they wrote in a report. And then they talked to another business CEO who's they make plastics and rubbers, Myers Industries in Ohio. He says that it's a reality and not merely a blip, reshoring. It's him saying that reshoring is a real trend. The supply chain issues spooked some customers that we saw the last 2 or 3 years. Mike McGaugh said, the CEO. Even if the costs are a little bit higher on labor, the ability to have rapid feedback and rapid delivery means something to our customers, right? We built our entire economy on kind of just in time. Remember Toyota? Just in time, right? They hold no excess inventory in their warehouses. Just everything is just arriving automatically, right, when it needs to be there. Well, the moment you have ripples in the supply chain or something like a pandemic, or, massive geopolitical tensions between China and the US that aren't getting better anytime soon. China is full on dictatorship at this point. Did you see them haul President Xi's number 2 kind of rival, so to speak, in the CCP, in the Chinese Communist Party? This guy, they come to him in the middle of the meeting, tap him on the shoulder, and just take him out of the room. Nearshoring, reshoring is a thing. Whether we have another pandemic or not, hopefully not, geez. Nearshoring, reshoring, probably a smart thing if you look at the state of the US and Chinese tensions. You look at our dependency on China for everything called manufacturing. It's completely gone in one direction, their direction. I think they're still considered an emerging economy in the eyes of the UN or the WTO. Number 2 economy in the world, emerging economy. So anyway, that to me, probably if you look at all the bad things caused by big tech's just abuse of their power, the gutting of US manufacturing probably being one of the biggest travesties in all of this, slowly coming in the right direction. Not totally there. That's where I agree with the Goldman economists. But hey, the trend is now, I think, starting to shift in the other direction. Unfortunately, though, we just interviewed David Rubenstein a couple weeks ago about his new book, and I asked him about his thoughts on manufacturing, and he was not very bullish. This guy controls many, many hundreds of billions of dollars of investment capital, and this guy isn't bullish on U.S. manufacturing. And the guy's a huge patriot in the sense that, he's donated so much money to fix the Washington Monument, many monuments in D.C. that are dilapidated and need money to be fixed up. He's bought, many historical documents to the United States, like the Magna Carta and other, the Emancipation Proclamation, other very important artifacts, and then, donated them to museums and such. So the guy really cares about the country. So that was a little disheartening to see. So it's still a mixed bag, but I love seeing the CEOs that are actually on the front lines, right? In the manufacturing industries, in the steel distribution industries saying, hey, we are seeing a shift. That is huge. If you like this video, go check out our other videos on the interview with David Rubenstein, where I ask him about what he thinks about manufacturing versus, say, ESG and the balance of power between those two initiatives.